Okay, so last time we finished off and we had only done a couple layers. But as you can see, we've gotten a little bit farther now. And it doesn't really matter how far you go. Like in this one, I could have just stopped like around this layer and it would still look like a flower. But I think the bigger you make it, kind of the better it looks. So that was my finished one from last time. But now I'm going to show you kind of how to do some shading to make it look a little more like a flower. And so each time you make one of these crop circles, it'll differ depending on the size of that first circle you made. So like this first circle I made on this one was a little bit bigger than the one I made on this one, which kind of impacted like how far away the layers were or that sort of thing. But anyways, so now we're going to do some shading. Rewind. The first thing we do is we're going to go over all the lines you make a little bit darker. It'll make it just easier to see everything in the end. So just bear with me for a second. Okay, remember, I'm just going to go give you steps that I might not have given you in the last video. So remember how we brought these down to meet the petals and how it kind of makes like these little diamond shapes that are in here. So you can kind of see how those diamond shapes are showing up in the rest. Like you see those here and here. And they kind of, there's more and more each time you make another layer. So depending on how far you went, like how many layers you did, you might see more or less than I have here. But that's kind of a cool little fact. Okay, so remember, see how we're just reaching with these petals to the edge ones? In later layers, you can reach a little bit farther than just the ones in the layer before. So if you hadn't done that in just the last few, like just now when you made your crop circle, you can just add it now. Okay, so there's that. Like see how instead of just bringing this one just to here, I brought it all the way down to this one below. That makes it so it has more of those little diamond shapes. So my next video will be how to make a crop circle that I don't think I will have designed. I haven't really chosen my crop circle yet. And so sometimes when you're making crop circles, like if you just ever decide to design one of your own, you just kind of have to start with a pattern and keep going. I'm sorry, I'm kind of talking your ear off while I finish these few steps. And you can decide whether you want to go all the way through on this one. Sometimes it works out that you can, and other times it's not exactly as perfect as you would like it to be, and you can't necessarily do that. So it's kind of up to you. Almost done here. So again, right now we're just going over the lines, making them a little bit darker so it'll be easier to actually see the pattern. Yes, okay. So here's our circle so far. Next thing we're going to do is some shading. So I like to, sorry, that was just my tape falling. But I'm going to do some shading first in just this little center part. You don't want to shade in that empty spot, just the petal areas around it. And you don't necessarily have to do this in a pen or a pencil or a Sharpie or anything. You can do it in kind of, like you can even do it with chalk or with paint. If you want it to be colorful, you can shade it in with different colors each time. But that's kind of up to you. I'm just doing this because it's a little bit easier to show. Okay, I missed a spot. Okay, so you do that layer, then you skip out to the next. So we're not going to shade in this layer all the way around here. We're going to skip out to this layer. So we take it in, and we are going to shade all the way down to where it meets the next petal. But we don't shade down past that, because then you wouldn't exactly be able to see like the different layers. It would kind of get a little bit messy. Sorry, I think I might have just made a mistake. Okay, yeah, so see here where I accidentally colored in, you don't want to do that. Just want to a little bit. Okay, so there's that layer. Then you're going to go out to the next layer, which in my case is my last layer. You guys might have gone farther, in which case just keep going every other layer and make sure you don't want to shade past where it meets the next petal in. So I'm just going to finish this up here. Shading. Yeah? Are
you taping?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Lotus should be ringing the bell any minute.
Okay, so that's my flower. As you can see, this one was a little bit smaller than this one. This one was also a little bit more widely spaced than this one. That's just because of the different middle circles. My brother's about to ring the doorbell. Just give it a second. Okay, well, yeah, that was my crop circle tutorial. I'm formally naming it the Trinity Lotus. Bye.